does Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, and any number of other leaders throughout history, what do they share in common? Aside from the fact that they're leaders, innovators, change makers, these are qualities at their peak that we aspire to. But what was the process that they went through? These are merely circumstances that came from hopeless limitations in their life that they created limitless opportunity with. What was the process that they went through to be able to create such a peak in leadership characteristics? To achieve limitless potential and impact on the world around them. What was it within them? What was the daily struggle that they've gone through internally to be able to manifest such limitless level of personal growth despite egregious environmental factors that they've faced? What has been the cycle, or hero's journey, as Joseph Campbell would refer to it as? What was that cycle that they went through? How is their perception of the world shaped? And I think of a friend of mine, Marco Pasquale. He was born 3 months premature with cerebral palsy. He endured over 13 surgeries as a child. He faced what most would consider limitations on a daily basis since the day he was born, and yet he turns those into limitless opportunities every single day of his life. When he was a kid, as an athlete, he won multiple gold medals as a swimmer, basketball player, track and field, horseback riding. These limitations did not hold him back. He's now a professional speaker. He's involved with multiple foundations and entrepreneurial ventures. And I asked him, what was the driving inspiration behind challenging yourself on a daily basis and creating an impact in the world? And he said that one of his biggest motivating factors was his father, who was an immigrant from Italy, seeking to create a better life for his family. And he instilled in Marco, from a young age, a deeper sense of appreciation and of self-worth. And Marco says that on a daily basis, he's reminded of that when he looks in the mirror, to reach past the expectations of others. He has a tattoo on his heart of his family crest, which has a inscription that translates respect, courage, pride. This embodies the perception that Marco carries with him on a daily basis. And is it any surprise that he pulled from a childhood memory for inspiration? As children, we are free. No one is born restricted by the environmental pressures of society. We have a free, loving sense of reality, and we stand firm and undeterred in our perception of the world. Yet that slowly erodes as we become adults. I remember when I was a child, my kindergarten teacher was extremely adamant that I had a learning disability. I couldn't sit still, and I certainly could not keep my mouth shut. And I also remember as a kid, we had family drives up and down the east coast of the United States, 10-hour drives. I couldn't sit still for 10 seconds, let alone a 10-hour drive with me and my brother in the back. Our perception as children is shaped by freely expressed emotion. It takes the mind of an adult to be able to inject fear and anxiety in your passion for living. As Sir Ken Robinson said in his now famous TED Talk, I needed to move to think. I needed to be active to truly live. Too often we consume our mind and are so willing to accept the fact that perception is hopeless. Indeed, it consumes every aspect of your creative consciousness, and it attacks you at your most vulnerable. 5 years ago, I experienced another one of these drives up the East Coast. Yet this was not like one of the ones that I experienced as a child. I was alone, both emotionally and in reality. My entire car was filled with everything that I owned. I was lost. I was consumed by my own reality. I was literally drowning in my own self-pity, doubt, resentment, depression. I became a victim of my own circumstance. And many of you might be able to relate in some way to this destructive emotional roller coaster that we tend to face on a daily basis. Whether you're consumed with the lack of self-worth, you're not good enough, you're never qualified enough. Whether you have a victim mentality like I did. Everything was against me. Everyone was against me. No one was there for me. And we'll edit that out. Or whether you're an entrepreneur and consumed by this deep sensation of perfectionism. Nothing is ever good enough, and therefore nothing ever gets done. At any course in life, at any stage in life, abhorrent and unwarranted perceptual reality is like a sadistic torture chamber that your mind oppresses upon your heart. It neither allows you or the world around you to reach its full potential. And in my circumstance, I was so consumed by this thought process, this hopeless mindset, that I couldn't even see what was in front of me. I couldn't see the reality that I created. And despite the love and support that I got from people who truly cared about me, that I was unable to see, people who were truly unaware, and that I kept silent of my actual circumstances and the emotional pain that I was going through at the time. Even still, I was unwilling to be able to accept the reality that I had created. But this was an opportunity. This drive became an opportunity to become intimately appreciative of the fact that perception is awareness. It demands an open mind and your undivided attention. Whether you like it or not, it will drive you to adapt. It will force you to adapt. This drive became the turning point in my life where I was able to reflect on the realization of the reality that I had created. And although masked in selfish and shameless exchanges, the love and support that I got from friends and family that I was unwilling to see and so blind to see became the driving inspiration for me to finally start realizing what needed to change in my life. And so I ended up in a desperate attempt just to take action on something, I applied for grad school. I ended up taking the preparation test for this course, for this course of study. Did absolutely terrible. And I ended up having to spend the first semester, the fall semester, taking an undergraduate course in international relations, which is the course of study I was pursuing at the time, to be able to prove to the school that I was meant to be there. But more importantly, to prove to myself that I could actually follow through and achieve something beyond what I thought possible. And I ended up spending the latter half of that semester in the director's office, making sure that he knew I was meant to be there. And though I ended up getting in the spring semester into the hardest course with the most difficult professor, the course that everybody takes the last semester of their last year. And I remembered the first assignment that we had. 15 minutes before that class, I was halfway done with this assignment. It was not pretty. And I was going to quit. I was going to walk away. Grad school wasn't for me. I pulled it together somehow and was able to finish this paper, put my thoughts on paper and get it in. And I thought to myself, well, this is great, because now at least the professor is going to confirm the fact that I'm not going to be able to do this, and I'm not supposed to be here. So 2 days later, that professor saw me in the hallway. He called me over and he said, Jeremy, you put more into what you wrote and you inspired me more than anyone else in the class. He was proud. And he told me that he was inspired by what I would be able to create moving forward. This was a stark and empowering realization and reminder that perception is purpose. Something that I was so desperately seeking, yet was sabotaging myself because I always told myself, I can't find it. I don't know where to look. I don't know where to begin. But no longer was I bound by these shackles of self-doubt. There was no turning back. I had a definitive purpose to move forward, and that purpose was to serve others and to become the person that I learned how to be from the people who took care of me and supported me when I needed it most. To experience life to the fullest and to empower others to do the same. And this changed everything. It changed my life. It inspired other aspects of my life. My relationships became more meaningful. In my business, I don't just consult with fitness entrepreneurs and offer products and programs. I support them in transforming the lives of others. And I empower people around the world to be able to live a fit, healthy, responsible, health-conscious lifestyle. With App Genius, I'm not just a VP of business development for another tech company. I'm a passionate and driving force behind revolutionizing app discovery and innovation. My why, like Simon Sinek says, is the driving force behind my passion and the definition of my purpose. This is the self-determined path that I wake up to now every single morning, and it is open to all of us. This goes beyond challenges. This goes beyond challenges in your life. It's appreciating the fact that perception is limitless. It opens up an entirely new ecosphere of opportunity, love, enlightenment, inspiration, and it enriches your life with meaning. I went from being completely defeated in the bathroom of my grandparents' house. This was in 2009. It was Father's Day of 2009. And I remember they're standing there looking at the mirror, and I had this old, just crappy camera with me. And I remember everything within me said to capture this moment. Capture what you've become. Because I was so determined to create the person that I needed to be. This visually represents a complete transformation of heart, of mind, and of lifestyle. It was a willing acceptance to look internally and look at myself and be aware of the realization that I could actually do something with my life. And if I was able to transform my perception of myself, of my outer reality, then I could create anything. This was an extremely empowering aspect of my transformation. Instead of being flooded and drowning in my own self-pity and doubt, I became the first person in my family to earn a master's degree, let alone pursue 2 of them. Instead of allowing my voice to be consumed by insecurity and fear, I now reach people, audiences around the world, and empower others to pursue a life of fulfillment and reach their full potential. Instead of playing small and remaining stuck in mediocrity and self-sabotaging perception of the world, I've consulted and deliberated with global leaders on how best to impact it. I've traveled the world. I've been able to experience life to the fullest, all of the adventures that life has to offer, and I continue seeking more. As you can see, I've actually helped rebuild Stonehenge, by the way. But there's 2 things that stand out the most and that have been the biggest factor in my life. And it's the aspect of connecting people, networking, bringing people together. That's the first thing, creating a network of influence that inspires you and creates a foundation of support. Surrounding yourself with people that spike your intellectual curiosity and create a better person. The second thing is serving others, giving back, reaching out to those who have a passion and desire to live a more meaningful life. Perception is everything. It is all of this. It is hopeless, it is awareness, it is purpose, and it is limitless. The actions we take in challenging ourselves on a daily basis are what is going to determine the path that we pave. Every one of these leaders has gone through this aspect of perceptual growth at some level. There are millions of anecdotal success stories of people like this, people like my friend Marco, who have the courage to attack hopeless scenarios in their life and create limitless opportunity. They've all experienced at some point this cycle, what I call cycle of limitless potential. And this 5-phase roadmap, if you will, can actually be reduced into a three-part initiative and a 3-part path. The bottom level, the foundation, is awareness. Being able to have the realization of where you're at in life and be able to reflect on what has gotten you there and what your role in that has been. The second is resolve. Having the courage to face this reality and then be decisive on a more constructive perception of your reality to create a better perception of it and create a purpose. And then the third is action. An unwavering pursuit of this purpose. Reality is not an illusion. Your perception of reality is the illusion. It's the grand illusion. And you're the magician behind it all. Shift your perception and transform the reality of potential that you have in your life. Thank you.